this is the trumpet of Yom Kippur of 2020. Declaration that the riches of the wicked stored up in their storehouses, now they're being given. The riches, the system, the entire system. Now there is a judgment being released over the nations. But there is a release over the people of God that believe in Yeshua, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, that are possessing possessions to take this system to the next level, to use this system, to utilize it for the kingdom of God, and to take the thing to the next level. But in the year 2018, or the end of 2017, when Donald Trump declared that now the city of Jerusalem is restored back into its status of being the city of Israel.
My announcement today marks the beginning of a new approach to conflict between Israel and the Palestinians. In 1995, Congress adopted the Jerusalem Embassy Act, urging the federal government to relocate the American embassy to Jerusalem and to recognize that that city, and so importantly, is Israel's capital. Yet for over 20 years, every previous American president has exercised the law's waiver, refusing to move the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem or to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital city. Therefore, I have determined that it is time to officially recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel.
So the Yom Kippur of 2020 becomes a declaration of trumpet, which he says it shall be a jubilee to the people. And Israel now is no longer just a political state or a political status, but Israel now is a nation. Not only a nation, but it's a nation of 12 tribes with a calendar with 12 systems and 12 months. Not only that, but it has become a kingdom in heaven, because when the city is restored back in its place, Jerusalem is restored back in its position, then it means that Israel now, the King heaven, God rules over Israel. There's a portalway open over Israel, and Jerusalem now has become a city where the King of glory, Yeshua HaMashiach of the Hebrew, reigns and rules. So the trumpet now that we are blowing is a declaration of God's prosperity, God's favor, God's grace, declaring that Jerusalem is the city where the king rules, and Israel is the country where the nation and the kingdom of Israel rules on the earthly realm from the heavenly realm. I want to declare this prophecy that from the year 1948, Israel became a colonized state. It was controlled by the English as a colonized state of the English people. Even though it looked like it became a state, but it was still controlled and limited by the English and the colonial masters from England and their political system. From the year 1948 to the year 2018, those are 70 years which were declared over Israel, that Jeremiah saw and says that the captivity of Israel shall be accomplished and completed after 70 years. Now God says to Daniel, and he says that you shall count 70 weeks. When 70 weeks are completed, the Messiah shall return in his position. The Messiah shall return in his place. The Messiah shall be glorified, and the iniquity shall be cleansed and purged. This day of atonement declares the 70 years that God is pouring out over the nation. That 400 years, 2019, that we are seeing the 400 years from 1619 to 2019. That is 400 years. 400 years for what? The first boat of slavery touched in Virginia in 1619 to 2019, the 400 years accomplished. So we have the 70 years in within 2018, 2019 to 2020, and then we have the 400 years of the completion of slavery, 400 years. And God says to Abraham, your people shall be slaves in a land where they will be mistreated, but I'll bring them out, I'll bring liberty, and then I will bring them into their land, which is Africa, and they will come out with possession and riches. Now listen to this. The possessions of the wicked are stored up for the righteous. This is when the system that the wicked have been building and storing up, this is when the righteous now take over to be able to use it to fulfill and to do what God desires to be done with it. I'm going to blow the trumpet over the city of Stockholm.
Change Mindset Magazine. Learn something new today.